Last year, the world came together in Paris to reach an agreement to address the climate crisis. It was a historic moment, and it was just the beginning. Join us on our journey around the globe as we learn what it will take to build a healthy, clean energy future, and what more we all can do. We'll hear from the leaders, musicians, experts, and everyday people leading the fight to make climate action a reality. This is 24 Hours of Reality. We're on the road forward.
And hi, welcome. I'm Sam Champion. We're glad you're with us. Thank you for joining us for 24 Hours of Reality, The Road Forward. So last year, some very big news. You'll remember this. The world came together in Paris for COP21, where about 195 nations adopted an agreement that said, yes, they will reduce greenhouse gases, and yes, they will limit global temperatures. Now, that was history, but it was just the beginning. Now comes the very hard work of meeting those commitments. So travel with us from our home base here at Liberty State Park in New Jersey. And wait a minute, can I just show you this? Take a look at that gorgeous sunlight coming over the city of New York. It's beautiful this morning. Now, from right here, founder and chairman of Climate Reality Project and former Vice President Al Gore will lead the way around our globe to visit the top 24 greenhouse gas emitting countries. We will explore solutions in each nation, challenges they face as well, and how they could succeed in ensuring a sustainable future. We continue our look at the road forward with our 15th, believe it or not, of 24 countries, Russia. So here's Russia. It's the fourth highest greenhouse gas emitter, a country that has set a target of 25 to 30% greenhouse gas emission reduction below 1990 levels by 2030. So if certain forest conditions exist and the nation has vast potential for renewable energy sources, that if it could utilize, could provide almost 1/3 of its total primary energy supply. 1/3. So join me now in welcoming a man who has led the charge in educating and inspiring action on the climate crisis, the founder and chairman of the Climate Reality Project, Vice President Al Gore.
Good morning.
How are you,
Sam?
sir? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Every hour.
Every hour, and we're getting a little more daylight?
It's a beautiful sight across the river at Manhattan, and thank you, Sam. You're terrific.
Pleasure to be here.
Looking forward to exploring briefly in this slideshow Russia's contribution to the climate crisis and Russia's contribution to solving the climate crisis. The 24 largest emitters, we've been through the list. It's interesting that Russia is number 4 on the list. Of course, the vast land area of Russia has a lot to do with that, and a sizable population as well. For our Russian audience, I want to start with the iconic pictures of the Earth that I almost always start with, because they kind of set the stage and focus on what is most important here. We're talking about our shared home. This is the Earthrise picture from 1968 and the iconic blue marble photo from 1972 that really kicked off the modern environmental movement. So this image is from the space shuttle, and it shows the true nature of the Earth's atmosphere. The sky is not a limitless expanse. It's a very thin shell of atmosphere around the planet. The truth is we're using that as an open sewer now, with the emission of 110 million tons of man-made global warming pollution every single day, and the cumulative amount is now trapping as much heat energy every day in the Earth system as would be released by 400,000 Hiroshima-class atomic bombs exploding every 24 hours. That's a vast amount of energy. And it is really causing major problems, of course. And the principal source is CO2 emissions from the burning of fossil fuels. There are other sources, but this is the heart of it. And especially since the end of World War II, these CO2 emissions from fossil fuels have been skyrocketing, and there's some evidence that they may be starting to level off. We've gone 3 years now with no increase, but we're still having these annual additions of an enormous amount. Russia's greenhouse gas emissions reflects reflect the tremendous economic changes that accompanied the breakup of the former Soviet Union and the bumpy recovery since then. But one thing that jumps out at you when you look at Russia's energy situation is the fossil fuel subsidies, almost $40 billion per year, 2% of GDP. It's politically difficult to get rid of those subsidies, but countries around the world are waking up to the fact that that's one policy change that makes all the sense in the world. We don't want to subsidize the climate crisis, and we don't want to see these countries lose revenue that could be put to much more productive use for the best interests of their people. So let's look at where the emissions are coming from in Russia. Almost 90% from the energy sector, excuse me. And if you break that down, you'll see heat and electricity, as you would expect. And Russia is the largest source. Manufacturing, transport, construction, and so-called fugitive emissions, a particularly large part of Russia's emissions. So 14 of the 15 hottest years ever measured with instruments have been since 2001, and the hottest of all this year. Even though it's not over yet, it's already certain statistically to be the hottest ever measured in history. So if you look at the temperature trend in Russia, you see that the same thing that's happening globally is happening in Russia. In fact, the temperature increases in Russia partly because of its high latitude and the magnification of ice melting, which leads to more heat absorption on the surface that's no longer reflecting that incoming solar energy. The heat increases in Russia are actually twice as fast as the global average. And you might think, okay, it's a country with a lot of cold, so maybe it's good. Not really, because the soils are not suitable for agriculture in the far north. You get the melting of the permafrost. They have a huge soil erosion problem on the Arctic shores, and you have the bubbling up of methane, particularly in Siberia, and a lot of other problems. And with the warming, you also have this incredible problem of fires, which I will talk about in a moment. But the number of heat waves in western Russia is due to quadruple over the next quarter century. And there are new threats, according to the head of emergency situations, as they call it in Russia, new threats to infrastructure. A lot of infrastructure is built on frozen permafrost. There are other special situations that really create great challenges for Russian infrastructure. They have the same problem with these record downpours that most countries in the world are getting, with the extra heat in the oceans causing more water vapor to evaporate. When it comes over the land, you get these massive downpours. This one was in Kursk a few years ago. This was last year in a part of Russia. And in Rostov-on-Don at the end of June this year, they've had their share of these rain bombs, as many people are calling them. But one of the biggest problems related to the climate crisis in Russia is the vast increase in the number of fires. This is a satellite picture in the middle of July this year of a vast area covered with fire, and it actually recalls the historic fires that broke out some years ago in 2010 when 55,000 people died in those historic fires, mostly from smoke inhalation and other health-related problems connected to the fires. This actually also led them to cancel all their grain exports. That led to the second all-time high food price spike worldwide, and actually food riots in 60 countries, including in Tunisia, where the Arab Spring was kicked off by a food vendor at the peak of food prices. So the connection between the climate crisis effects and political instability is really quite significant. We're seeing air pollution, much of it due to fires in Russia. They're actually the second, well, let me pause before. They're the second worst country in the world when it comes to mortality from outdoor air pollution, and the incidence of fires predicted in the years ahead is going way up. This is a graph showing the areas where you're going to get 40%, 60% more fires in the decades ahead, according to the scientists. This extra heat also is hurting crop yields in Russia. Up to a 30% decline in crop yields in some regions of Russia predicted as a result of the increasing temperatures. And of course, President Vladimir Putin, in his speech at the Paris conference, said that climate change has become one of the gravest challenges that humanity is facing. So the good news is that Russia joined with practically every country in the world in Paris to reach the agreement that commits the entire world to go down to net zero greenhouse gas emissions as early in the second half of this century as possible. And Russia's specific commitment in Paris is not as solid as some countries, but I think it's going to get there. Potential reductions of 25 to 30% below 1990 levels. Now that was a high level because it was, at the time of the breakup, just before the breakup of the former Soviet Union. Nevertheless, they've agreed to be a part of the world's effort. They did not block. They agreed to join. They are making efforts, and that's very good news. We are now seeing the solutions available there and the pending vast expansion of renewable sources of energy, including principally wind and solar. Solar costs are coming down quite dramatically, of course. This is a central fact of the sustainability revolution worldwide. And we've already seen the beginnings of the expansion of solar power in Russia. You're going to see a lot more of that, large utility scale installations and rooftop solar, manufacturing jobs as part of the solar revolution, a commitment to electric trains. They've long since had a commitment to electrification of mass transit. Half of Russia's railways are already electric. So how could Russia strengthen its commitment? By actually enhancing its commitment to get to peak emissions and make deep reductions, to diversify its economy and move beyond oil and gas, and incentivize to a much greater degree solar and wind to reduce methane emissions and capture that as a new source of revenue, improve energy efficiency, and hopefully ratify the Paris Climate Agreement. In any case, the world is grateful that Russia has joined the Paris Agreement, and in that way is helping to make certain that the sustainable future of the world will become a reality. Sam, back to you.
All right, sir. I think everybody can remember in their recent memory fires. When in my business, we always thought of fire season as being in the warm, dry days of summer. Now fires can erupt at just about any time during the year, and they do. Thank you, Vice President Gore. Every hour, we'll be sharing and inspiring solutions that are already in place in each of our 24 countries. In Russia, the icy winds of far eastern Siberia, and decentralized wind turbines are making a remote area far more sustainable, which means it's easier to live because of this new renewable energy.
Around the world, communities are embracing clean and healthy solutions to fight the climate crisis. With a global agreement now in place, the time for action is now.
А Камчатка обладает своим микроклиматом. Она как остров, хотя является полуостровом, но со всех сторон омывается морями. Летом температура может достигать 25 градусов, а зимой до минус 44. Ветер до 12 раз может менять направление. В этом вся сложность.
Ну, мы находимся в поселке Усть-Камчатск, в микрорайоне Погодный. Основные богатства Усть-Камчатского района, природные, это является рыба, ну и ветер. Наследие социалистическое, когда лишь бы освоить, много сюда привозилось. Потом и население здесь упало. И фирма, которая здесь находилась, обеспечила нефтепродуктами, посчитала невыгодно здесь содержать большой парк емкостей, потому что завозить топливо надо было на год.
У нас почему топливо дорогое? Его везут по морю, по рекам, по зимникам и так далее. За это время он становится золотым. Себестоимость этой выручки, половину ее занимает топливная составляющая, топливо. До недавнего времени основным источником энергоснабжения удаленных поселков на территории Дальнего Востока являлась дизельная электростанция. И вот в этом нам как раз и помогает возобновляемая энергетика. В 2011 году уже практически начали реализовывать проекты строительства солнечных станций, а в дальнейшем и ветростанций.
Вот интеллект этой машины, которая является гарантом бесперебойной работы и бесперебойной выдачи электроэнергии в сеть.
Мы уменьшаем выбросы раз, мы экономим дизельное топливо.
Особенности края, вот вы видите, вот это считается нормальная погода. Порывы ветра могут достигать до 30-35 метров в секунду. В целом мы довольны этими машинами.
Мы здесь начали обживаться еще 2 года назад, вот на этом участке. Ну, до электричества, до сетей поселка очень далеко, чтобы сюда дотянуть, это очень дорого. Пользовались станцией, электростанцией бензиновой. Поселковские власти поставили первые ветряки. Глядя на эти ветряки, мы тоже такой идеей загорелись. Ну и вычитали в интернете, что продаются такие полубытовые, полупрофессиональные ветровые установки электрические. Освещение дома внутри, телевизоры, пылесос тоже, тот же самый можно включить. То есть этого хватает. И поставили. Теперь вообще отлично.
На уровне власти края расходы, которые выделяют финансовые средства для выработки электроэнергии, стали меньше. Сэкономленные средства могут пойти на какие-то социальные проекты, могут на школы, на содержание школ, детских садов и так далее.
Кто знает, для чего вообще эти ветряки, собственно?
Чтобы электричество.
Давай. Чтобы электричество. Замечательно.
А что полезнее для природы? От ветра или от дизеля, допустим?
От ветра.
Почему?
Потому что дизели загрязняют природу выхлопными газами, а ветряки используют энергию ветра.
У нас за спиной находятся лучшие рисунки усть-камчатских школьников, которые победили в результате конкурса рисунки на тему зеленых источников энергии. Даже дети понимают, насколько актуальны и важны новые направления в развитии энергетики не только в нашей стране, но и в мире в целом.
Innovators are hard at work. We can make climate action a reality. Together, we're on the road forward.
And our goal this morning and this hour is to learn a little bit more about what Russia is doing to fight the climate crisis. And I think we're starting that. So now we want to hear from you. Tweet along with us at hashtag 24hoursofreality to join in on the conversation. We will be checking in with all of your watch parties happening around the globe. If you haven't got a watch party started yet, don't worry, you've got time. Just grab some neighbors, run down the hall, grab some people, get together for a watch party. We'll check in with you. Everyone's tweeting. And the point is that we've got people talking, but we really want to make sure we hear your voice. To do that, let's go to Caleb. Caleb, the heat map. So sexy, that heat map, where we can see everybody who's watching.
This heat map is amazing, and I asked viewers at the beginning of the broadcast last night to make sure that this thing lights up. And I wanted everyone in here to have to wear sunglasses. And we are on a fast track to making that happen. What's really amazing is how much action we're getting from countries that we haven't even touched on yet. We're getting a lot of tweets coming in and posts coming in from countries that we have talked about, but there's a lot that are coming up later on in the broadcast that we're getting a lot of heat from Europe. There's a lot of posts coming from Europe across the United States as well. We're getting a lot of action, and I want to show you some of the tweets that we're getting right now. Maya Mitchell, you've probably seen her in the movies Teen Beach Movie on Disney Channel or The Fosters on Freeform. And she's a Disney Channel star, and she said, important, use the hashtag 24 hours of reality to tell world leaders that you care about our planet. And Maya Mitchell and I actually did a promo for 24 hours of reality that you can check out on my Instagram and Twitter. I think it's pretty funny. I asked a lot of people during the last 12, 14 hours why they care about the climate change movement and what their concerns are. The thing I keep hearing again and again and again is it's the kids. And we have some great examples of that here. They're worried about their future, and they want to make sure they keep this planet safe for them. And with a smile like that, I don't know how you can't want to make sure that he has an amazing future and we can keep this planet safe for him. We also have Sheila, and she actually says, nothing beats cuteness, best weapon in climate change advocacy from Kids for Kids Future. Thank you so much, Sheila. It's a very important message, and I love the way you said it. We also have some really great watch parties coming in from Indonesia. We have some great messages coming in from Iran. Remember, you can use the hashtag 24 hours of reality on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google+, Vine, Periscope. We're looking at all of it, and as soon as I walk off the stage, I'm on my phone looking at all of your posts.
He is. He's right on it. As a matter of fact.
I'm going to get on it right now.
And so I want to say hi to our friends in the Philippines because they are lighting up the heat map as well. Now, there are people all over the world who have committed themselves to becoming messengers and even activists in this fight against the climate crisis. Now, some of these people have actually personally been trained by Vice President Al Gore and some of the world's leading scientists in order to become climate reality leaders. And in just a moment, we're going to tell you how you can move from just watching this to becoming a leader. But first, let's meet one of those leaders from Russia, Evgeny Nikolev.
Эл Гор, у него есть фильм, который называется «Неудобная правда». Этот фильм мы посмотрели вместе с дочкой, и он навсегда изменил мою жизнь. Арине 7 лет, и фильм, который дошел до момента, где рассказано, что изменение климата серьезно влияет на вымирание видов, Ариша стала переживать. Папа, что ты, собственно, собрался с этим делать? Мне уже некуда было деваться. Так я стал активистом. Теперь же я занимаюсь тем, что создал компанию в России по ветроэнергетике с амбицией стать национальным лидером по созданию ветропарков, по строительству ветропарков. И мы прорабатываем сейчас первые проекты в России. Я выбрал для себя стезю зеленой энергетики. Участие в проекте Climate Reality Project дало мне понимание, что я не один, и нас много. Людям, которым не все равно, люди, которые хотят сделать наш мир лучше. У меня больше оптимизма в том, что вот эту картинку, которую нарисовала моя дочь, где присутствует дикая природа, где есть и люди, и ветряки, можно будет реализовать вместе. Я верю, что возобновляемые источники энергии – это путь вперед.
Now, for those of you who are watching, and maybe you've been with us for the entire program so far, and you feel inspired to help educate your own community about the climate crisis, well, now is a very easy and good chance. You can sign up right now to become a climate reality leader yourself, and maybe even be on next year's show.
Climate change is our biggest challenge yet. The world's getting warmer, seas are rising, and our weather is getting more and more dangerous. We've got to stop. The good news is that we can. And all across the planet, climate reality leaders are leading the fight. They are inspiring people to stand up and take action when it matters. You can join them. Become a climate reality leader and learn what it means to lead a world-changing movement. You'll train with former Vice President Al Gore and some of the best scientists and influencers out there. You'll learn the latest on climate science and solutions, and learn how to share it with a message that moves audiences to act. You want to make a difference? Now learn how. Become the world changer you know you can be. Become a climate reality leader.
The climate crisis has hit home with devastating effect, disrupting people's lives and livelihoods everywhere. The Climate Reality Project was created to catalyze every level of society, demanding action to address the crisis. To date, we have trained thousands of climate reality leaders worldwide to give updates of the iconic presentation originally given by Al Gore in An Inconvenient Truth, and to educate and enlist others in the cause. These individuals hail from diverse communities and are a front line of awareness and action on the issue. Our branch offices around the world help to build powerful citizen movements. Like in Brazil, where efforts helped to ensure leadership ratified the Paris Agreement amid national turmoil. We also work to give young people and local government a voice with our 100% Committed campaign. Like in Park City, Utah, a city which is pledged to go 100% renewable. Or Plymouth State University, where a student-led movement helped the university to commit to 100% renewables. The thousands involved are creating the next generation infrastructure to drive pro-climate policies at the local, state, and national levels. And finally, each year, the Climate Reality Project attracts millions of viewers and the world's attention to the climate crisis with 24 Hours of Reality, a global live-streamed event featuring celebrities, dignitaries, and musicians for 24 hours. Today, we stand at the precipice of a new moment. Action is necessary and possible with affordable, widespread solutions. Join us as we make ourselves heard, as we make sure our leaders take action, and as we make a bright and sustainable future our reality.
Dear world leaders, we all know that the climate crisis is here.
We are all affected by it.
और अगर ये हमारे ऊपर होता तो
we would do something about it.
In fact, some of us already are.
In our communities,
in our businesses,
we are doing our part.
Now it's your turn.
As our leaders,
as the ones bestowed with power,
the power to represent the people.
Please listen.
Listen to the land.
Listen to the ocean.
Listen to the science.
Actually, we have some demands.
We demand that you protect what's left.
Stop using fossil fuels.
And when you do,
the world will be a better place instantly.
Together, we can make it a reality.
just caught me in the middle of a Facebook Live, so everybody get on social, and we'll talk to you all morning long if you're watching. But right now, I'm thrilled to present you an exclusive aerial performance imagined by Cirque du Soleil in support of one of our marquee partners, One Drop. That's an international nonprofit dedicated to providing safe access to safe water. Now, this piece will be part of the 5th edition of One Night for One Drop. That all happens on March 3rd, 2017, and it's in Las Vegas. But if you don't want to pack up and travel to Las Vegas, just settle in right now, because enjoy 24 Hour of Reality's exclusive premiere here of One Drop for Humankind.
We are one drop in an ocean of God, connected by our isolation, and our cells are our incarceration, and our boundaries are imaginary lines that divide us into separate nations when we're the same creation. We use technology to keep us in communication, and yet there's nothing better than a simple conversation. They say that it's the journey, not the destination. I say the journey is the destination. We're facing global climate changes. Forests are endangered while we're chasing paper, buying things to help distract us from our human nature. Luxury and compensation when our accomplishments are far beyond how much we're making. It's what we're making. The ripple effect. I throw a rock into a lake and know the water's rising, even if it's at the smallest rate, and as the level elevates, it escalates. Get 1 million people throwing rocks and you can see the change. Gandhi said to be the change, and he the change, so we the change, and honestly we need to change. The time will never be the same. Even though we're different, we are all the same. He the same, and she the same, so we the same. How can I complain about the minor things when there are human beings dying just to find a simple drink, migrating miles for what's pouring out my kitchen sink? It forces me to sit and think. What is the missing link? You see, it's hard to comprehend, but we are all in sync, so we have a responsibility to act. Actually, this moment, in fact, is all you'll ever really have. And right beneath the haves and the have-nots are never-hads, and yet they smile brighter than the actors from these clever ads, telling us to spend $1,000 to get some trendy swag when we could take the same amount and end the suffering they have. There's no third world. There is only one world, one sky and one earth. One man is not an island, he's an endless universe, manifesting inner dreams. Anything is possible, as long as all of us believes anything is possible. As long as one of us believes anything is possible. At least that's what I believe.
24 hours of reality, 24 countries. We'll talk to a lot of important people, but the most important conversation we'll have today is with you. Caleb, what's going on out there? I mean, something's happening, right?
Oh, so much is happening online. If you've been watching this broadcast, you know the hashtag. Say it with me, hashtag 24 hours of reality. If you don't know the hashtag, and if you're just tuning in, I am on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Vine, Periscope, Google+, you name it. I am looking for your post with the hashtag 24 hours of reality. The best part is we've had some very incredible celebrities who are also climate activists tweeting in as well. We got one here from Jason Mraz, who sent an awesome message. Very cool. I'm a huge Jason Mraz fan.
Me too.
We got one from a fellow Disney Channel star, Maya Mitchell. I actually had the privilege of Peyton
You're
Lin-
forgetting the most important one. Our picture. I thought we were bros.
Do you know what? We did post a picture right there.
Don't pass that.
Rock and roll, you guys. We're listening. When you post, we're sharing. So get on there and use the hashtag.
We're all tweeting each other as well.
All right, I'll get out of here.
Get out of here. We also had, who else do we have up here? We had Ryan Reynolds on the broadcast. Daughtry popped by. I'm a
sure,
huge
just
fan.
drop a few names. Go ahead.
I'm name dropping. They're all on the floor right now.
There you go.
We have Vanessa here co-hosting a lot of the segments. We also had, we had Jay Park as well. His performance was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be tweeting out a link for you guys to see that performance as well. It was so fantastic, and I'm such a huge fan of him. So remember, use the hashtag 24 hours of reality. And literally, as I walk off the stage, I'm getting on my phone and I'm looking through the posts right now.
All right, and Jonathan Scott, who just made an appearance, is actually going to be here with you for the next few hours. But right now, let's try this. Let's see if this works. We're joined via satellite in Oslo by the Russia Group Director of the Bellona Foundation, that's Vladislav Nikiforov, who will be discussing his hopes for a renewable Russia with our Cape Town host, Africa Milani. Africa, it's so great to see you. How are you? I haven't seen you since last year.
It has been a whole year, Sam. It's certainly good to see you too. I'm very, very good. Thank you very much. Yes, you're right. We are focusing on Russia this hour, and we are focusing on the solutions and the road forward for Russia. Vladislav, a very, very good afternoon and welcome to the show. Will you please start by giving us some background to Bellona's work and what you're hoping to achieve in the renewable energy solution space?
Yes, hello. Bellona has celebrated its 30 years anniversary this year. And we have worked in Russia for over 20 years, and we started to work with renewable solutions for 10 years ago. And what we did in Russia, we concentrated on the northwest of Russia and mostly in Murmansk region on the Kola Peninsula. And we showed first the possibilities for renewable energy sources in the remote settlements in the rural areas which are not connected to the grid. And all those small villages used diesel generators instead. It was quite expensive and not environmentally friendly. And after publishing several reports, the local authorities understood that it's much better to use renewable energy sources instead of diesel generators. And we also worked with
also then understand
educational programs with the students and in schools, showing how renewables can be used. And we also published the register of absolutely all renewable energy sources in 3 northwest Russian regions to show to the public that it's possible to use, and so the potential users could address and ask for the help the owners.
It's good work that you're doing there, Vladislav. Help us understand the impact of the climate crisis in Russia.
The climate crisis has a large impact on Russia, but if you, for example, but I would like to just tell one example. So if you ask an average Russian in the street, especially in winter when it's -20, and ask him about impact on of climate crisis, he will say it's great, it will be warmer. but in fact it's a very huge impact on Russia. First of all, it's getting warmer in Russia, and it's during summer. There were several summer years with very hot summer heat waves, and thousands of Russian citizens died because of that, because they are not used to hot weather, and they were not prepared simply, and the authorities were not prepared, and combined with forest fires, which happened due to the higher temperatures, it gives a tremendous effect on the environment. And even in Moscow, during some hot summers, it was possible to see smoke in the center of the city just for some years ago. And but the biggest effect is on permafrost in tundra, in the north and in the Arctic regions, because there are a lot of gas and oil industry, and the whole infrastructure is built on permafrost, and nobody expected that permafrost will melt. And in fact, it happens today, and it will require a lot of resources to keep it safe. So this is, in short, about the impact.
Now, you would think that given that impact of climate crisis in Russia, it would be easy to sell the concept, the idea of renewable energy solutions. What are some of the obstacles to introducing renewable energy solutions in Russia?
And today, renewable energy generates only 1% of all energy in Russia. This is quite extremely small part, and due to the fact that Russia was always relying on its oil and gas industry, the attention to the renewable energy sources was very low. And only in recent times, the government decided to draw attention to it. And 3 years ago, it was new legislation which was favoring the development of renewable energy sources in Russia, and but there was one condition, that 65% of equipment should be produced in Russia to get the state support. And it was quite difficult, and the investors didn't like it. But anyway, the projects are going on, and the big producers decided and will establish the production in Russia for this. And the other obstacles I could name is the lack of public awareness. It's especially among the business and the government sector, people don't realize that renewables could be used on a much bigger scale. So these are the main obstacles for renewable energy sources development in Russia.
We also know that the ice in the Arctic Ocean area is melting, and there's continued interest in drilling some of the oil and the fossil fuels in that region. There's also quite a bit of pressure, in fact, against such a move. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
You mean the drilling in northern regions?
That's correct, yes.
Yes, it was, for several years ago, it was decided that gas and they will go northward to Arctic to explore the new oil fields. And it was a lot of state subsidies and tax exemptions for it. So the oil companies moved to the north, and it was a great protests from the environmental movement. And also, if you remember, that was Greenpeace attacked the oil platform on Pereslomna oil field. But due to the happily, because of the low oil prices, it appeared to be not profitable to get the oil, to explore the oil so much, so north in the Arctic. So right now in September, the Russian government issued moratorium on new oil licenses in Russia, and this is very good, and let's hope the oil prices will not rise. Otherwise, it will be reconsidered, and the oil exploration can start in the north. But so far, only one oil platform is delivering oil in the Russian Arctic on Pereslomnaya oil field.
Now, we all know that sustainable solutions is the way to go. What are some of those challenges towards a sustainable solution in Russia?
Sustainable solutions in Russia is Russia cannot boast about so much about sustainable solutions, but so far, as I said before, renewables is only 1% of oil electricity generation in Russia. And when it comes to waste management, I think this is one of the biggest problems in Russia, because nearly all household waste and municipal waste are just dumped in the landfills without any recycling. So this is one of the biggest problems when the big cities are surrounded by the landfills. And also, when it comes to environmental legislation, Russia has not yet ratified the ESPO Convention and Aarhus Convention, which is critical for sustainable solutions. And in Russia, this is quite important. And also the low level of awareness among the Russian inhabitants, among the business and government regarding sustainables is quite low. I think this is quite an obstacle for that, because usually people, if you look at the general Russian mass media, they don't tell anything about it so much. So usually people don't think about it. So public awareness is one of the greatest problems, and we are trying to work with it, and all the NGOs are trying to raise public awareness among the Russian population.
We have seen President Vladimir Putin declaring 2017 the year of the environment, or the year of ecology. What initiatives does he plan to put in place in the coming year in Russia?
Yes, the 2017 is announced as the year of environment, and I just want to mention that 2013 was also the year of environment in Russia, and it was, but we couldn't see so big results after that year. So, but in this 2017 is, according to the Russian environment minister, it's allocated nearly $5 billion American dollars for this year. So it will be mostly. It's planned a lot of, in all Russian regions, a lot of environmental conferences, competitions, exhibitions, youth camps, where they will promote environment and sustainable solutions, I hope. So even, but at his annual speech, Vladimir Putin said that it's time to fight the landfills around the cities. So according to the plan, it will be built some incineration plants for household waste, for example. But let's hope it will follow all the best available technologies and environmental technologies. And but we wish that every year should be the year of environment, not only 2017, because you cannot do everything in 1 year and then forget again. So we hope for the best, but we will see in the end of the next year.
We certainly do, and I do know that your organization, for example, will do what it can to help realize those objectives. Now, wind energy in Russia is something that is sadly overlooked. What impact do you think investment in wind energy would contribute towards realizing a reduction in the need for Russia to rely on oil?
Yeah, wind energy is one of the most important renewable sources, and in fact, especially in the coastal areas, and there are estimates that wind energy could produce some 25% of all electricity generation. And it could definitely substitute the fossil fuel in electricity generation. The only thing, and just this year, just recently, there was a big conference on renewable energy sources, and it was paid great attention to wind energy. And even the Russian Rosatom Corporation, which used to work only with nuclear issues, paid its attention to this branch, to the wind generators, that it's very profitable, and this is the future.
Vladislav, thank you very much
And
for
I
your
hope,
time
the
today.
producers
We
of
wish you
wind
and your
energy,
organization for the
generators
best
will come to Russia and
towards
factories and plants here and give the working places in Russia instead of importing all the equipment.
Vladislav, thank you very much indeed for your time. And certainly all the best to your organization and to your country in the road forward. Back to you, Sam.
All right, Africa, just so everybody understands what just happened there, that's Africa from South. He's from Cape Town talking to Oslo, Norway. You're looking at New York in the background. We're going all over the world. Now, over the last hour, we've spent time getting to know some of the unique challenges faced by the people of Russia and their commitment to working toward a more sustainable future. And remember, the most powerful warrior in this fight against the climate crisis, it's actually you, sitting right there watching us. Become a climate activist today by making your voice heard. And it all begins with letting your leaders know, simply, where you stand on the climate crisis. And we're going to make that very easy for you to do. Just head over to 24hoursofclimatereality.org and choose the message that you want to send to your leaders. Once you do that, we will send you an action toolkit, full of resources, solutions, and ways that you can stay involved long after this broadcast, 24 Hours of Reality, is over. So stand up, be a trailblazer in your community, and together, you know we can continue to be on this road forward.